Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we'll be continuing our playthrough of Legend of Legaia, covering up until we disable the mist generator in the Succubus Islands. But before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week?
I'm so tired because
Same.
my sleep hasn't been working. I
Same.
got a sleep study done a month ago, and they just now decided they should look at the results and figure out what the problem is.
What the what? I need to go to a doctor about mine, but the fact you went to one a month ago and they're just now like, oh yeah, we should look and see that's so fucked.
Yeah, because my last sleep study was over a decade ago, so I don't remember how long it usually takes. But I asked my friend, yeah, when you got your sleep study, how long did it take? And he was like, oh, like an hour? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the place that I'm going to just sucks, but they take my sucky insurance, so, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did not complete this section of Legend of Legaia because I kept falling asleep while playing it, even though I liked the game.
That's no good. I was also falling asleep while playing Legend of Legaia last night, but that's because we be stupid, and so we promised each other, me, Summer, and Andy, promised that we were going to beat Resident Evil 7 by Halloween. Then on Halloween night, Summer fell asleep at 10:30, so we did not get basically any plates. We were like, it's okay, we will get it done on Day of the Dead because Andy's Mexican, so we get an excuse that Day of the Dead counts. So we stay up super late till almost 2 a.m. on Day of the Dead, and we think we beat it. But if you don't get the bad ending of Resident Evil 7, you have another 3 hours of game. The good ending is very long, and so we were right there. It was obviously the ending, and we were like, cool. And then we pick this one, and then shit keeps happening, and we're like, fuck. So we look it up, and we have quite a bit left. We're like, okay, we'll get back to it later because there's no way we're staying up even more now that it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I slept until noon yesterday for the first time since I was in college, and my sleep schedule is stupid. And so last night, as I was playing Legend of Legaia, I was tired, and I fell asleep playing it. And then I woke up really early today because waking up early today, with it being the time change, I woke up stupid early today. So I played a lot of my secret game that people, eagle-eared listeners who listened to the post show last week know what it is. But I was playing that all morning, and so I've been up for a very long time.
Meanwhile, I've been sleeping too much. So what happened was, in the aftermath of my issue with my job, no longer having that, my sleep schedule started to drift, but it started to drift in the wrong direction.
Oh, no.
I started staying up until about 9 to 10 in the morning, and then sleeping until 6 or 7 in the afternoon. And that sucks, because it means I'm basically missing the entire, like if you sleep all morning and a little early afternoon, that's fine generally. The world doesn't punish you that much socially. Sleeping the way I has meant was just completely cutting me off from a lot of people I know, because I would wake up and I'd be groggy, and by the time I was awake, they would have a couple hours before they went to sleep, and that sucked, and I hated it. So I said, I need to get back. I want to shift over to the same schedule several of my partners have, which is something like going to bed around 3 or 4 in the morning, sleeping until around noon. That sounds reasonable. That's a decent sleep schedule. Trying to force myself to do that has broken everything, because in the process, I have defaulted back to what every time my sleep schedule gets really bad, what my brain keeps defaulting to, which is sleeping 4 to 6 hours a day, twice a day, which I'm not going to say is a terrible thing that's always bad, but with me it frequently is, because I will frequently lean to the 6 hour end of that, and it means I sleep about half of the day, and None of the time it just, I feel like I'm always tired and never getting anything done. Yesterday I was supposed to be doing, there's a D&D game I've been doing since 2020. It is a bi-weekly game that sometimes, due to scheduling issues, we go half a year or more without actually playing it because the schedule just keeps not working.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, it shouldn't. I enjoy it. My character for it is a character I adore. It's gone on too long. It shouldn't keep going, but we want to power through and finish it at some point. And so it gets to the point where now, if up to 2 people aren't able to show up, we do this session anyway. And yesterday I was one of those 2 people because game time started to approach, and I was gonna pass out. I was like, if I stay up to play, I'm gonna be in a bitchy mood. I'm gonna be a fucking asshole. I don't want to do that to my friends and partners, so I'm just gonna pass out instead. And that felt shitty. That felt bad. I didn't like that. So I really would like to get to get to the sleep schedule I want. And I'm gonna keep trying, but also my sister keeps telling me I should, go to a doctor because clearly I have insomnia issues, and it's hampering my ability to enjoy life. And that's true. And also, I'm currently blessed with a kind of health insurance where if I go to the right people, it's free, and I should take advantage of that. And I know I should take advantage of that. In the same way, I know I should set up a dentist appointment, and I know that I should call my parents and tell them that I don't have a job anymore. And those are all things I need to do. And the longer I put them off, the more consequences fall on my head. But the thing is, knowing I need to do it doesn't mean anything, and the thought of actually doing it fills me with a paralysis that causes me to do nothing. So hopefully I can fight my executive dysfunction and get those things done. But that would be good. How are you doing besides the Resident Evil thing, Sam?
I'm doing great. So my Halloween costume was Kratos from God of War.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
I was really proud of my costume, but yeah, I knew I was dollar storing it because I bought a generic barbarian off the shelf, and I cut the shirt into 2 skirts, and I used the furs to be Kratos, and just took most of the heavy lifting for my costume was the fact that I'm already bald with a beard. So I did the costume. I thought it was great, and so we go off to do trick-or-treating and stuff like that, and afterwards we go to Chipotle for our burritos because it's tradition. And so we go in there, and as soon as I walk in, everybody is turns and is staring at me, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not wearing a shirt, no shoes, no shirt, no service, even though it's Halloween. My whole stomach is out. They're obviously going to ask me to leave or whatever, but in fact most of them asked to get a picture with me because they thought my costume was so great. And internalized fat phobia is the devil. Don't listen to it. But
now,
yeah,
I will say, at one point at the restaurant I worked at, someone walked in for fully shirtless, and I hated that person, but they were skinny, so I think hating someone for that doesn't have anything to do. Also, I've got to say, I find it so adorable that you know so little about the character you dressed up as. You don't know how to pronounce their name.
It should be Kratos.
Well, it is Kratos, though.
But it should be Kratos.
But it is Kratos, though.
Oh, it's like me. It's like me and my insistence that the character from Dumbing of Age should be named Dinah instead of Dina. Because dinosaur!
Yeah.
I'm with you on this, Sam. I think we should be allowed to pronounce characters' names however we want.
Yeah, you see, I'm a book reader and you're an audiobook listener. So you do it the right way, but I do it the way that makes sense in my brain because I've only ever seen
you say that, but I didn't listen to audiobooks for a while, and I still think it should be Zeth instead of Seth. I think
it is Zeth.
I'm sorry, by the way around. I think we should call him Seth instead of Zeth. My brain.
It's a Z though. Name. That's
but that's an S first, and it's really funny to call him Seth. I think it's great to have a fantasy character who's this glooming, just the saddest man who's ever existed. He was born in a wet box with no friends, and he kills people in the most grandiose ways possible, and his name is Seth. That's good.
It's good, actually. But related to that, real quick, so Bernard doesn't fall asleep. I have caught up on the Cosmere, every single last bit of it.
Good job. You
And so
beat me.
now I'm catching up on the Cytoverse, but as I wait for Dawn Shard graphic audio to come out in 7 days.
I bought some Era 2 Mistborn stickers, and they came with several Cytoverse stickers I didn't ask for. And now I'm like, am I obligated to read this just so I know who these characters are? I think I am.
Or you're obligated to just mail them to me. I like stickers.
Okay. Do you like uh call sign FM Freya Martin?
I absolutely love FM. She's fantastic. She's the lead of the first novella, and
What
I
about
love her.
Olenek?
I don't think I know who that is.
Okay, well, I'll maybe send these to you then.
Okay, maybe. But yeah, other than that, I just played some Legend of Legaia and punched Songi in his fucking face.
Yeah.
So let's listen to some music and then we'll talk about that.
With the city of Octum saved, sort of, it is time to check back on Vidna, the city of windmills that aren't really windmills, but actually big fans. The tourism board is looking to change the slogan, but have yet to find a good replacement. Maybe it's for the best then that the windmills/fans are not working at all. After all, they were built to run on geothermal power, and freezing all the magma beneath the islands has left them powerless. Which means, oh dear, the mist is here. And with the mist comes a bunch of frustrating random battles. Looking around the town, you find it pretty much abandoned, but maybe you remember there was this one guy who was insistent on building an underground bunker, and everyone else thought he was a weirdo for it. Well, it looks like the Doomsday Prepper has been proven right. Which, I mean, it is Doomsday, so fair, I guess?
See, the best
Yeah,
part
being a doomsday prepper sort of makes sense when 95% of the world is in doomsday and you're just in a tiny little pocket of not doomsday. It might make sense to prepare for if doomsday comes your way.
and also just in general, the reason why doomsday preppers are so abundant in the real world is because they only haven't been proven wrong yet. They don't have an expiration day, so doomsday prepping is always the right thing. They will always be proven right eventually.
Except the thing is, a lot of real life doomsday preppers don't actually care about doomsday or surviving in a post doomsday world. A lot of them are just looking for a reason to arm themselves to the teeth and are fetishizing the idea of self subsistence in a world where community isn't needed and they don't need any handouts from anyone else.
Yeah,
That's neither here
I was
nor
just
there.
talking about that guy in Japan that decided to buy all of the toilet paper he needed for the rest of his life.
Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Anyway,
Also, Sam said eagle-eared earlier because he wanted to say eagle-eyed, but this is not a visual medium. So I looked it up. It looks like eagles have regular hearing.
Okay.
Not not great, not bad, just regular.
Thank you.
anyway, everyone is down in his shelter, and they really want the mist to get taken care of so they can go back into their homes. Like, this bunker is nice, sure, but in terms of long-term habitation, it isn't exactly the underground city we were just in, you know? There's only so much one man can build out of trips from Hope Depot.
I love that everybody rushed down to save themselves, and the casino guy brought a slot machine. He's
Yes.
like, "Look, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to have a crippling gambling addiction. You got to bring it down."
Neither of y'all have ever watched a single goddamn minute of The Simpsons, right?
No.
I have watched all
Well-
of season 1 and most of season 2.
Okay,
Okay, well-
I've watched like 6 random episodes.
This image I just posted is from when they're all in a doomsday bunker, and it's sort of like that.
Yes.
People who know The Simpsons will know which image I posted.
As one of the people in the sanctuary brings up, there is one small benefit to the whole loss of geothermal power. All that boiling water underneath the city hiding those treasure chests from our grubby mitts, unprotected. That said, at least as far as I recall, those chests were generally not worth the slog of the random encounters it takes to plunder them all, so your mileage may vary on that trip. But okay, I was just looking at the long play, and I realized that I forgot that one of the things there is a key item called the spring salts, which are apparently just bath salts that make a bath smell like, or be like hot springs. And evidently, you can take those over to the mayor of Octum, who gives the party a slowness chain, whatever that is,
It's
as
an
a
accessory
reward.
that makes you go last in battle. So if you wanted to rely on the fact that Gala normally goes last, you could slap it on him to be a end of turn healer if you
Oh,
wanted
well,
to.
that's neat. That's a useful thing. You also tell him about the state Vidna's in, and he gets really sad and is like, oh, wow, haha, it seems like saving my city kind of cost this city everything. And so then he tells us where the next Genesis tree is, which is really neat. But once again, I didn't do any of this, so I'm going to be going forward in my notes, pretending that none of this little side tour happened. Back on the topic of benefits from there no longer being any hot lava beneath us, you might remember me talking last week about Ratayu, a city that was protected from entry by a chasm that was belching out boiling hot steam. Well, the way forward's free, so let's go. As you approach the now steamless chasm, the raw Seru start glowing and talking about how they sense a Genesis tree nearby, this one to the east, but for some reason its energy levels are fluctuating in a strange way. Oh well, we'll deal with that when we get there. Time to hop over the chasm. And I do just love so much in this game how there's so many things that would be impassable features in other JRPGs, but are here just excuses to parkour. It's delightful. Uh, Heading into Ratayo, you find what at first seems to be another typical mist-covered city, but the more you investigate, the more disturbing the picture becomes. There are a lot of notes and letters left around mentioning that women in the city have been selected to be Seru brides, sent away to the palace and never seen again. In fact, the innkeeper's daughter was next to be selected as a Seru bride when the mist finally arrived. That's all pretty sus, and we have to investigate that further because the gates out of town, east and west, have been locked up. Heading into the palace, we can find the ruler of this place, Saryu, who, despite having been turned into a Seru monster, can still communicate. He's not all there, barely able to fight his affliction to speak to us, but he gives us the key to the east gate and tells us exactly where the Genesis tree is, so we can clear the mist from this town. He also says something about wanting to be reunited with his bride, so while Gala's a little suspicious, Noah trusts this guy completely. And I mean, I'm on Noah's side. Clearly, he's just being nice and helpful and is eager to be with his wifey. He's a wife guy. We stan a wife guy. Anyway, we head east out of the city towards Mount Latona, and we find a cave system to climb. It's kind of just like that other mountain that had a Genesis tree on top, except this time, when we get to the top, we don't find a precocious girl who's ready to join our party. We find a strange pyramid barrier that shocks us if we try to touch it, preventing us from getting to the tree. And who could be behind that but Songi? Laughing dramatically, he approaches our heroes, taunting us with what he's done, and demands a fight. If we win, he'll undo the force field. And this time, it's not a one-on-one fight with Gala, it's a challenge to the whole party. He is so confident about that because as he issues the challenge, he transforms into a sort of monstery appearance with silver hair and one of his arms changing to be all messed up and spiky.
Majin Songi.
Yes, it's Majin Songi. Anyway, it's fight time. This definitely was not a fight I ever thought I was going to lose, but it did take a long time. The guy has health for days.
It was delightfully easy for me because I had recently worked my ass off to get good because of the Zane fight. And so I now know the really long combos that deal 1500 damage. So
same. Those are great.
I was just pumping away at him, and that sounded bad. I just
Kala just pumping away at Songi.
Yep.
Please look up on AO3.
Yes, but yeah, it wasn't too hard for me, and I'm also playing with fast forward permanently on, so nothing takes long.
When you win, he does exactly as he promised and deactivates the force field. He happily asks that we use the tree to clear away the mist, which will make our raw savior stronger, so that next time we meet, we'll have another awesome fight. After he runs away, Gala is left confused. How his old friend could be so evil, yet also so peaceful in leaving and genuinely following through on his word? Gala, it's called villainous standards? Come on. Anyway, we do the tree thing, the mist gets cleared away, and we can head back to Retaya. And just in time, too, because now that the mist is cleared away, its leader is going back to evil. Yeah, so as we talk to the civilians, we learn that Saryu has been doing the whole taking young women as Seru brides, as the notes before implied, and the populace is terrified over it. It is so bad that some people we talk to curse us for driving away the mist, because it has only meant returning them to their torment that is life. One guy in the streets is trying to plan a rebellion, but that's a little hard when the big cheese in question doesn't go out among his people very often, so the only time he can think of to strike would be during the ceremony where he takes a new bride.
Oh no, I see where this is going. We're past the part I got to.
Yeah. And it just so happens, as I mentioned before, that we know who the next bride is going to be. So when the party goes and talks to Eliza, the girl who is the daughter of the innkeeper, Noah immediately volunteers to take her place, which we need to allow to progress. Switching into the traditional purple bride outfit, Noah gets led away, and we follow as she's taken into the palace by cruel guards, led down to a strange section of the palace where translucent tubes full of women drained of color and life float in them, pleading for help because they cannot see or hear and only know pain. Noah is understandably freaked out, especially when she's taken down to an area where she sees the magic happens. When I say the magic happens, I mean a giant monster eating women. Seriously, she watches as a woman who's also been drained of her life force is swallowed by this creature's proboscis, gone to join all the other women who are feeding its power. Noah tries to leave, only to run into Saryu. This creature, Juggernaut, is apparently using the brides to fuel its flesh and blood, and Saryu thinks that they should all be happy with his fate and shut up. When Noah tries to resist, he knocks her out, and we switch POVs back to Vaughn and Gala, who need to go in and save her. If you go and talk to any of the palace guards on the way in, they're all, "Please don't be mad at me, I'm just following orders." To which I say, "Sure thing, pig. Now say oink oink." Trying to go into the area where Noah was taken means fighting a mini-boss, these two things called Kamaro, which are these creepy dog things, and they apparently can give you a spell because they're that kind of Seru monster, but I didn't get it, and I'm a salty bitch now.
Yeah, I did not
Apparently
get
it's a really good spell.
I did not get a single spell this week, and I was like saving the turn before they died so I could keep trying over and over again, and I had the ivory book equipped and nothing. I was like did like 15 times before I just got bored, and I was like, whatever, I don't need it. And same with these. I'm like, oh, obviously this is where you can get this spell early, so I need to do that. And no, I hated it.
Yeah, no, I watched in the long play I was using for notes, they use this spell frequently in every boss fight after this, and I'm like, I hate you. I hate that you got access to this cool move. Heading down into the depths where Juggernaut sleeps is beautifully atmospheric. You go down this winding square spiral stairwell, down as you see exactly what nightmarish work is being done. And as you arrive, they're about to let this monster gobble up Noah, which might be enough to put Juggernaut finally at full power and send it out into the world. Luckily, the boys race in, Gala punches the big tentacle what eats people away, and their raw Seru work together with Terra to shake Noah out of what's been done to her. She immediately starts crying, saying that she always knew Vaughn and Gala would save her, but then Saryu butts into the moment, turns into a monster, and it's time to fight.
I love when a bad guy turns into a monster and you fight them.
Yes. He's one of those bosses that has a really hard-hitting AoE that will absolutely take out your party if you're not being careful with your healing. And it gets even worse midway through the fight when he calls on Juggernaut, who then boosts him with a huge stat boost. Still, you take him out, destroying the Simseru that was posing as his hat. Saryu wakes up, finally himself after being controlled and made to do evil all these years, and is horrified to see a Juggernaut is active. Saryu shuts it down, calling it a forbidden Seiru. Back in his throne room, he thanks us again profusely for the help, blaming himself for all that's happened. While he did all of this under the control of a Sim Seiru, he's the one who chose to bond the damn thing, persuaded by someone named Dohati to do so. The only way to free the Islands of the Mist is to destroy its generator, which is currently protected by that Dohati guy who's off to the west. Oh, and he confirms there is at least one Juggernaut that got completed before the Mist even came, and hearing that, you might have some idea what happened to the other one. Saryu was supposed to produce as many of them as possible, sacrificing as many of his own civilians to do so as possible. Though, one question, why they gotta be women? Whatever. He gives us the key to the West Gate. Thanks to our saving the innkeeper's daughter, we can now stay in that inn for free. Oh, and if you're wondering about this whole Sim Seiru thing that I've been mentioning, then maybe you should have gone to the house in Ratayu with the old people who explain things. They exposit, if asked, about how Sim Seiru are human-made Seiru, and that might be a key piece to figure out what's actually going on here. Oh, and if you talk to that dude in the street who suggested striking at Saryu during a bride ceremony, he's really pissed if you don't credit him with your success. What a backseat JRPG protagonist. Anyway, you head west, find Dohati's castle, use his weird escalators to rise higher and higher through the structure, and then confront the bad guy himself in the mist generator room. He calls the Sim Seiru given to Saryu second rate, implying that he has one himself. And when the dude appears, he looks an awful like the last bad guy we fought who was protecting a mist generator. He claims to be a loyal servant of Prince Court. There's that name again. And it makes it clear that he's the one who's behind the Juggernaut, as well as Zane killing Hari. He confirms that he has a Sim Seiru, much more powerful than the one we fought before, and boss battle time. And I'll be honest, I barely remember this boss fight. It was a lot less memorable than the other ones we've done this week.
Yeah, I don't even think he has a big fuck you move.
No.
Yeah, I just kind of fought him. Like I was prepared to stop playing last night because I was starting to get sleepy, and I was like, "There's probably a lot after this. This boss fight is going to be hard. Let me." Oh, I beat it. Oh, okay. I guess I'll just finish because it's over. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. With him defeated, Dohati decides to gloat before he dies, making clear his Juggernaut is still out there, and it is what destroyed the Wall of Rim Elm, as well as somehow being behind what happened at Byron Monastery and that wretched cave? What, like the one Noah was in? Like,
Maybe?
It was responsible for trapping her there, or for freeing her? Well, I don't know. He explodes into polygon fragments before he can say more, and the party used their raw Seiru to destroy the mist generator. And once again in the aftermath, what is clearly another raw Seiru is left behind, a purple one this time. The good guys' raw Seiru communicate with it in a way that neither the player nor the party can understand, and when the raw Seiru is destroyed, the characters ask their magic jewelry, what was that about? And they're rebuffed, told that they can't explain now, but someday they will. Wow, that's a little ominous. I really hope the reason for the secrecy is good and not at all contrived. But that is a question that we will hopefully get the answer to, well, probably not next time, but at least we'll make progress. Hopefully. So the whole bride situation thing in Ratayu, I have complicated feelings about it. On the one hand, I think the entire idea of heading to this like, we've been to so many, this town was covered in mist and now we have to save it. Like, we've done that a bunch of times now. And so having a situation of that, but then it turns out the place is actually pretty messed up and the ruler is evil, is a neat twist. And the level to which, like, talking to the civilians and getting their perspective on things really makes it clear how just horrendous their existence has become is really well done. And like I said in the notes, I think the big room with the Juggernaut is so cool looking. It's a great set piece.
Mm-hmm. And especially when you're walking down there as Vaughn and Gala, the camera like follows you. and it's so cool. It's it continues to be one of the best things about this game is the fact that the camera is not bolted down anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And yet, for all that praise, I don't know, something about this feels a little like at first I saw the architecture, and like Octum, it has a very like ziggurat Mayan ruins sort of vibe with its architecture. It reminds me of. And then when you get to the whole like, oh, they're sacrificing young women to for this horrible thing, and then like in a weird cultural mishmash, the weird hat looking Simseru that's on the big bad dude's head, it looks like that like it reminds me of like that like I don't know the name of it, but there's like a kind of Chinese hat.
Mm-hmm.
And like it not only is it the hat, he also just kind of like when he's in his like gray skinned monster form, he just sort of looks like kind of the like I feel like I've seen in Japanese media a caricature of a Chinese person that looks like this before. It feels just a weird cultural mishmash that's kind of rude to every culture involved.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Don Cornero the entire time, so I didn't
See. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII, so I don't know. I here's what I know about that section of Final Fantasy VII. I know that depending on your perspective, either Cloud has to cross-dress or Cloud finally gets to experience gender euphoria for the first time.
he smiles in remake, so it's euphoria. He's living it. So there, that's canon.
As someone who has not played Final Fantasy VII, I am very down for Trans Girl Cloud, and I've been thoroughly spoiled on the game in a lot of ways. And everything I know about Cloud's character and arc, it's like, wow, this applies so strongly to trans girl in the closet who has to perform traditional masculinity in order to fit in with culture and hide the fact that she doesn't feel like she belongs anywhere or knows who she is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about that game that I haven't even played.
You should play it.
It's good.
I should. We're going to talk in the post show about my game playing, though.
So the unfamiliarity with the Japanese ellipsis strikes again this week.
Oh, there's so many silence.
No, it's exclamation point parentheses silence. That one's my favorite.
It's very silly.
It's the weirdest choice I've ever seen taken for that. Oh, it's so good. Also, I'm the tiniest bit dyslexic, so the entire time we were fighting Saryu, my brain switched the Y and the R, which is just Seiru, which is a name throughout this game. And I was like, did they really just call this guy Seiru in the game about the Seiru? And no, they didn't. I just can't read.
Wonderful. Also, I feel a little like the twist of, oh well, the evil ruler who was feeding his populace to the big machine monster, and doing all these evil things, he was just being brainwashed by his evil hat. I'm like, I don't know. I would have rather he just been a dick. I would have rather been voluntary assholishness.
When he comes out, he does say like, yeah, I was possessed by the hat, but like I didn't like not want it. I wasn't abducted by this hat. I was like, oh, this evil hat, I'm gonna put this on, it'll be fine. He admits that he's kind of a shit, so at least there's
it's a little admitted culpability, but I would have enjoyed more. But those like minor complaints aside, I think this was a very fun section of the game. I enjoyed the little twists on what we've had before. Once again, I think Songi is a very fun reoccurring bad guy. I like that he is 100% like he feels like an evil Goku. Like he is just here to get a good fight, and he will screw over his own side repeatedly if it means that the heroes get stronger and can come back later and fight him again. And like, I love that. That's a fun villain trait, and the fact it's confounding Gala is just very funny to me.
Yeah. obviously the first thing to go in the apocalypse was shonen manga, so he's not familiar with this at all.
Yeah. There's also, speaking of Galdo, in that specific scene, there's points where like the camera angle and the way his character model looks when his mouth is open, it genuinely, like, for a second I'm left going, wait, does Gal have a mustache that I didn't notice? Like, it looks like there's his mouth and there's this brown circle above it, and I'm like, is that a It's like, no, that's his mouth, but it's like it's done in a weird way. It looks odd.
Another fun thing that can happen this week is there are a lot of waters you can find in this section of the game, and just forcing all of them down Noah's throat so that she becomes freakishly strong is
I should have
really
done
great.
that. I really should have done that. I've been spreading them around.
Because Vaughn, when he does his big giant fuck you combo, he does like 800, 900 damage, and Noah does 1,800 damage. It's wonderful. The extra hits do a lot, and it's very, very good. I
sure hope you never have to fight a mini boss without Noah this week.
That would really suck.
Yeah, those mini bosses were easy though.
Yeah,
they were basically a hold X and just use the auto.
I was trying to figure out if they show up as regular enemies later. I couldn't figure it out, and I didn't research too much.
I hope so.
If that was the
But
only place in the
usually-
game where you could get that thing, I would be really disappointed in the game.
I mean,
for that.
all the other Seru that have shown up multiple times, so
Yeah.
Apparently they are all over the Callisto Kingdom, where we're headed soon.
Oh, well, that's nifty and useful.
Mm-hmm. They also come back as level 2 and level 3s down the road as well. But yeah, this game continues to be good, and
Yeah, it does.
it's a breezy sort of good. Where like Final Fantasy VII is good, but it's good because like you have to think a lot. And this one, you don't really have to think a lot, but it's still good. And
but it's not good if you're fighting to stay awake while playing it.
No,
because your sleep is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely make this a rougher experience.
But yeah. Anything else anyone wants to say before we wrap it up?
No.
Jeez, there's nothing I can do.
So that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help support us. If you do, you will get some extra benefits. At $1 a month, the Gadabout tier gets access to our bonus feed, where we have after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show that are backer only. At $5 a month, the Warrior tier gets all of the above, but I also read their names at the end of the episode like this. Shoutouts to Frosthair, Dragonslayer19, Floris, Keldronis, Frey Rodriguez, Aaron54, and JFro Prime. And then at $20 a month, the Luminary tier gets all of the above, plus a one-sentence shoutout to whatever they're passionate about. So shoutouts to El Tantavu, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. Shoutouts to Vimke, who says, leaving her cell and swinging her pack over one shoulder, she took the time to walk down 5 flights to her mother's nameless catacomb niche. And It's Clear Time says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game. I just think that it's neat. And for...
I was just going to say regarding Fabula Ultima, there's a Spelljammer game that I put on a hiatus at some point that I would like to get back to, but I don't want to play more. I don't want to run more 5e. And so the thing we're thinking of doing as a compromise is having it be in Fabula Ultima.
That'd be dope.
For like the Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye-bye.
Here's our chance for an all-out attack!
Exclamation point silence.